It's kind of like a book club without reading the book.
Exactly, it's a movie club.
A movie club. I like that.
Yeah, let's start a movie club. Let's start a movie club, bro.
You're on
It's a TV show club. It's called You're On. It's on Showtime. Yeah, it's on Showtime. So
okay, let's do that.
We can talk about it.
Are you in it?
Of course, I've already watched.
Did you produce it? Did you produce it with Pharrell?
Oyster Fine Wine. That's what I'm gonna start calling you. Oyster Fine Wine. Hey, do you like that? Don't you?
No, I don't, bro. I don't.
Good. I don't stick.
I don't. Tom.
Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, my brother.
It's always a pleasure.
Right? It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Tom. You know why? You don't insult me.
Come on, I ordered that. I didn't even want to use this deck. I picked the wrong deck.
Only when Lupe is influencing.
Couple matches before work.
That's all right. Don't worry about it. We all have our days.
We forgot and something words to a song.
And the world don't know. The world don't know Lupe was an hour late to record tonight.
We gonna talk about
He showed up to practice with his breakaway pants off already.
The Flash is gonna go find his shirt. You're gonna go eat. And I don't know what I'm gonna do.
You're gonna make some t-shirts.
You know what you're gonna do.
I'm gonna go make some t-shirts.
You're gonna go be a legend. You're gonna be a legend. That's what you're gonna do.
I'm gonna be a legend.
What up? This is Lupe Fiasco. I am definitely going back, and I just want to wish
That little
all of the
notification.
fans of the Lupe and Roy Show with Tom Frank a very happy and safe New Year's. Welcome to 2021. Yeah!
What's up? This is Royce the 5'9". I'm claiming Boom Bap. Okay?
Thank you
I
for
just
the
wanna wish
follow. Appreciate
everybody
it.
A happy New Year. I wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Some of you men didn't get presents. It's all right. This holiday is not for you. You know what I mean? Don't make it about yourself. The only man in the world that should get a present is Lupe because he is a present to all of us.
Actually, no, it's
His
not.
presence
Let's
is a
do this.
gift from the
He
heavens.
ain't got no energies. Get some
That's our show for the week.
energies.
If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe or follow. Leave us a review and tell your friends to listen. The Lupe and Roy
Pull
Show
his art out.
Say What Media. It's recorded and mixed by Clyde Jennings. Our head writer is Lauren Sloat. I'm Tom Frank. And our theme music is by
Let's draw a card.
Lupe Fiasco. 5'9".
All right. Shout out to Andrew. Appreciate the follow, my guy. I'm gonna follow you back.
I don't have anything against the hands that touches my body. Okay? They could be man hands, gorilla hands. You know, as long as they're doing the job, I'm in pain. I need you to help me therapy away. So anyway, thank you for your candor. So anyway, it's a great massage parlor out here. It's called Shanghai Massage Parlor. It's like above a Yoshinori. It's like in the super brand.
Is it on me? Is it on me? Let's run on. You know. Let's do that deal. Let's do that right there. Let's run a welder to the OG. Nice, nice. He gave he gave up. That was too fast. Yeah, let me try out this deck though.
On the Lupe and Roy Show.
I went to Virginia Tech.
Royce, you went to college?
Me and Royce were college roommates. How do you think we know each other?
I went to Did I go to college? No.
I'm serious.
I went to Virginia Tech to play basketball. I didn't go to the school part.
Where's Virginia Tech at, Royce? Tell the world.
It's in Virginia. It's in Virginia, over there by the Tech.
The Lupe and Roy Show is a Say What Media production. What up? This is Lupe Fiasco, and I am black.
What up? This is Royce the 5'9", and I too am black.
And word up, this is Tom Frank, and I am white, but not part of that whiteness that we saw
When
this
you
week.
play this football for me.
You ain't
Especially since you
finna.
prefaced it with word up.
Yep, you did word. I like how you tried to urbanize it. You ain't finna slide out of this one, Tom. You not finna slide out of this shit right here, Jack. You gonna have to speak up. You full representation of your people.
I will
Them
take
people.
full representation of a certain group of people, but not the full group of people.
No, the entirety of the race is on your shoulders this episode.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm happy to be on a show like this than on any other show. This was a rough week.
Are you trying to blend in and hopefully people mistake you for being light skinned?
Maybe.
Two blacks.
Yeah,
Okay.
Maybe.
All right, I'm gonna step
Tom,
back.
Tom, what do you plan to do about your
Wait, do
brothers?
we have any EX and GX with Mama?
I
Take
don't-
him out.
This was insanity this past week. Pure insanity, right? And what really pisses me off about it is the nerve of these people, and it is because they're white, who literally could break into the United States Capitol.
How old is this podcast? I want to hear the new shit, bruh. Here we go, here we go.
What's good? It's Harrison Sanford. That's Danny Green. This is Inside the Green.
You gonna reset me, guys? You gonna reset me,
bruh?
bruh?
Playoff push here, Danny. Then speaking of playoff push, before we get into the show, have you been watching college basketball, March Madness?
I have not, man. To be honest, I was watching my first one quite earlier than I wanted, earlier than I expected. It's been all downhill from there. I've seen the upsets that have happened. It's a weird year with COVID, but it's always weird during the tournament. But everybody's bracket, I'm sure, is busted. I don't think it's a person even close to winning. I have a perfect bracket this year, so. But I haven't kept up the way I should have. Mind you, said it's a short season for us. We have a lot of back-to-backs traveling from New York to the Bay and playing a lot of games without, our MVP caliber player Joel and Seth, another starter. So I've been focused on trying to keep our group and our guys together and our coaching staff sane.
Yeah, I do want to actually talk about the run that you guys have been on since the All-Star break. We'll look ahead to this West Coast trip. You should be getting your ring later this week when you play against the Lakers. We're going to talk about all that. I do want to touch on some interesting reasons why you were trending over the past week or so. We'll do that before we end the show. But speaking of college basketball, one of the guys that we
See
grew
if
up
you
watching,
can use
Patrick
these
Ewing, was
Indeedis.
just in Madison Square Garden. You were just there as well. Had a
both of
nice performance there, some clutch buckets. If you didn't hear what Patrick Ewing said, let's just play it one more time.
But I do want to say one thing though. I thought this was my building, and I feel terrible that I'm getting stopped, accosted, asking for passes. Everybody in this building should know who the hell I am. And I'm getting stopped. I can't move around this building. Like I was like, what the hell? Is this man Mr. God? I'm gonna have to call Mr. Dolan and say, Jesus, is my number in the rafters or what?
Yo, Danny, tell me you weren't dying hearing that.
I was, but I've been there, so I already know. And I'm not even nowhere near close to Patrick Ewing, Hall of Famer. But I understand that a lot of people go through it, even Hall of Famers. There's people that are just oblivious and they live in their own world. They don't watch sports. If you're not around or present in the building often, they're gonna forget about you. And it's sad. It sucks. It's these Hall of Fame players, one of the greats to ever come through this game. For him to be harassed and stopped at his own building, it's wild. But I've been there before. He shouldn't have to go through it, but that's the world we live in, man. It's not crazy.
Before you retire, I want the same energy in a rant from you, from any one of the arenas where you want to chip. I'm Danny Green, goddammit. I want to ring. I gotta call XO.
I'm sure if I go back to San Antonio right now, I could probably get you a rant right now. There's gonna be some people that probably don't know me or don't remember me being there. There's gonna be some security guards there. They stay at their post. They don't watch the games. They don't. Some of them don't pay attention. I'm sure if I walked in that building and said, "Yo, yeah, I used to play here," no, sir, you have to have a credential. You're not allowed in here. So week if you want, or in a month or two if you would like San Antonio, I can give you a rant.
There you go. Speaking of which, let's talk about that then. Has there been a moment in your life where you've walked in somewhere and somebody
The
had
extra card
no
off that,
idea
too.
who you are? Yes. I mean, yes, you're not like Kevin Durant, LeBron James, of course. But have you walked into a place and been surprised that maybe nobody knew who you were?
I'm never really surprised by it. I said it happens so often to me. It happens damn near every week. A lot of time in summertime, because people don't know where you are, what you're doing, they expect you to live in the city that you're playing and not go anywhere else, and they just expect to see you in the TV. So if you're at your home or with your family, like, what are you doing? You're already my home. That's where I'm from. So a lot of those times happen when I'm in New York or in Long Island, at the LA Fitness or the corner store, or getting a sandwich or getting some food. It happens all the time. It happens quite often. Or I'm on vacation. They're like, you look a lot like that green guy. I'm like, and I didn't ever tell them who I am. I always lie. So yeah, I get that all the time. And I'd be funny. You're green. I'm not green. I'm black. Or you know what I'm saying, something like that. So I like to mess with people, but I get some funny ones all the time, especially at LA Fitness in the gym. They always act like, that Danny Green kid. I forget who else comes in there. Raja Belt. I think he's in there quite a bit. But they like to talk about other pros that come. Yeah, Danny Green kid's coming in there all the time. His dad's in here all the time. And I'm like, yeah, really? And they're like, yeah, I heard he gained like 20 pounds of muscle. You grew like 2 inches. I'm like, you sure? That's crazy. I saw him last week. He looked like he lost like 50 pounds. Man, I think you're wrong. And then I think like maybe hours later they realized we were talking to probably someone in the gym, told them like, it's Danny Green, right? And they feel like an ass, but that happens to me so often, man. So many stories that I'm used to at this point. I'm never surprised by it.
Dope. Dope. All right, we got to actually get to some basketball actual stuff. So we'll do that when we come back from our break. We'll talk about the West Coast trip, MVP race, bunch of discuss inside the green room. We'll be right back.
Damn, I'm
March 22nd,
tripping.
2021, the world lost the great Elgin Baylor. A native of the Washington, D.C. area, Baylor was recognized as one of the best basketball players to play the game. 11-time NBA All-Star, 10-time member of the All-NBA First Team, NBA Rookie of the Year, continued to be left behind as he transitions his love for the game.
What's up, Andrew? My bad, I wasn't even looking at the chat, man.
On to be earning him NBA Executive of the Year in 2006. During the 1961-1962 NBA season, Elgin
My
Baylor
bad,
averaged 30
man,
points
I
per
ain't
game
focused.
while serving on active duty as an Army reservist. We celebrate the life of the great Elgin Baylor and his
I'll
impact
try
on the
that deck
game,
one more
as
time.
well as on those around him. His legacy will live on forever.
Probably one of the biggest weeks in 76er basketball this season. West Coast trip. Now, there are some players that are not going to be a part of it. Steph Curry will not play in Tuesday's game against the Warriors. Neither will Steph Curry and Joel Embiid, who's been out for a while now. Danny, just what's been the mentality of this team coming back from the All-Star break with you guys having outs with Joel, now with his injury, and then
Man.
the game previous to the next
But yeah, man, I'll take a challenge real quick before I get off here. I ain't gonna be on here too much longer.
Let's just focus on ourselves. Obviously,
But yeah, go ahead, send me your request.
Whether who's in or who's not, and we have to win games. There is no excuses. Nobody feeling bad for us. People are trying to take our position, trying to get our spot. We're trying to keep home court advantage as best we can. It's been beautiful to have the fans back. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a blessing. But our focus has always been us and trying to play our best basketball, whether who's on the floor or not. So even though those guys are out, we still got to win a game tomorrow or the next day. Continue to move the ball, get better as a group defensively, fix some things, and individually, guys want to try to compete at a high level and play their best basketball individually. So when we do get our guys back, we need our bench to pick it up. Obviously, when we do get our guys back, we'll be that much stronger, that much deeper of a team.
What's been crazy to me, I think this is like, I don't know, I can't remember the last time people were arguing this much. There was this much discourse about the MVP so early in the season. It started from, I feel like week 1 of the season, there was LeBron's case for MVP, Joel's case for MVP, Nikola Jokic's case for MVP. Now Dame is really
Appreciate it,
rising
Pokemon
in the MVP
promos. What's up with you,
discussions.
fam?
James Harden is rising in the MVP discussions. Luka, Giannis. The list is crazy. Where do you stand on that MVP discussions? I already know where you're going to favor, but like, have you seen anything like this where there's so many legit candidates?
No, I think that's due to the fact that they started so early talking about it. You start talking about that early, week 1. Somebody have a bad week, somebody have a great week, somebody get hurt a week. Next, you know, the new person in the conversation. These conversations shouldn't be happening until closer to playoff time or toward the end of the season. But because it happened so early, there's gonna be so many people that's on list. But guys have been playing extremely well from week one on. Dame,
I ain't
James
put no
Harden,
switches
obviously
in.
Joel, Bron. But it's
Damn.
crazy that so many injuries have happened now. We were talking about rookie of the year, and LaMelo's hurt. So that's why I don't like to talk about things too early, but they are discussed. They're gonna happen. But there's always going to be a lot of names mentioned.
Oh, nah, I went to get the VMAX. I thought it was the VMAX. I'm tripping.
The narrative because of how early the story starts, the topic starts.
Would have had a nice.
All right, fam. As soon as I finish this one up, we can do that.
Guys versus the Lakers,
This shouldn't be that long. I'm trying out this deck right here. It ain't really no good.
I'm looking forward to being there. I'm looking forward to watching the game. So it's still going to be enjoyable regardless. But I do, as we look now at that Laker game, you did not get your Raptors ring this year, but you are scheduled, I believe, to get your ring on Thursday. Is that so?
I believe so. Unfortunately, there's everything shut down in California. There won't be no fans, but I think I will be receiving the ring there. But yeah, it should be a fun time regardless. Obviously, it sucks the fact that they're not 100% healthy. We're not 100% healthy. I think both teams want it that way. That's what we play this game for. We want to compete at the highest level against the best. On the best night, so
what is he
we
doing?
want them to be healthy. We want us to
I'm
be
about to
healthy.
say, man, you got
But,
straight
still
didn't they?
basketball game, we get a chance to improve ourselves, go a chance to win a game, and hopefully receive a ring in the city that I played in for a year.
The unfortunate thing when it came to that was that everybody looked at that LeBron injury and also looked at that Joel injury and basically equated it to the MVP race and the impact that it can have. And I thought it was just, no, can we be a little bit disappointed that this X players hurt for a little bit before we get into the MVP ramifications? It's out of control.
Don't really care. Yeah, people don't really care about all that. They care about the other stuff, not the bigger picture of the human part of it. This is a human. He's hurt. Let's embrace that for a second. Let's worry about him. Let's pray for him and get a speedy recovery. Now they're like, oh, life goes on. We want to see other entertainment. Oh, it sucks we don't get the entertainment we want because it's another one. They're not even, respecting the fact that these are human beings and that they, need some support in that aspect of it. So.
Speaking of, so Joel's injury, right, and now Seth's injury has put your game maybe on showcase more. In general, though, this season, you've gotten to take more shots, particularly from three. I think you're averaging in 3-point attempts. And I say that now because, as I do, I still monitor Raptors Twitter and I monitor Lakers Twitter and Reddit. They are being not so friendly to KCP and Wesley Matthews right now because they're going through a little shooting slump. And it made me think of the time when you were in LA last year and a repeating notion that you had and that Derek Fisher actually mentioned recently on Spectrum Sportsnet. He said shooters need rhythm. You need to get shots up in order to, get your rhythm. And it's hard to be efficient when you're only taking maybe 1 3 a game, 2 3s a game. And I watch you now this season, and you're liberated. I feel like you're almost liberated to take more. And I can tell your confidence level is a lot higher because you're getting up more shots. At least that's what I'm seeing. Am I seeing that wrong?
For sure, man. And it's not just shooters; it's players. Basketball players need rhythm. The only way they can play at a high, efficient level. Very minimal, can play at a high level with no rhythm or make their own rhythm.
I do need to add this routine to my Charizard deck,
so yes,
though.
The injuries, they suck, but they have helped a lot of our other guys, gain confidence. Tyrese Maxey,
That's for sure.
Shake, Furkan, everybody's come off the bench.
Appreciate the light, Betty.
Opportunities to myself.
Betty Caruso. Shout out to Betty.
But the rhythm is just our pace. If I get more of a pace, more of a rhythm. Except with those guys out playing more minutes, you're gonna get more shots. But learning how to create your own rhythm sometimes when you don't have the rhythm, and staying in rhythm when the shots aren't coming. So, yeah, I understand Weston, KCP. KCP has been there before I was there. He knows how the life goes, ups and downs in Lakerland. Wes is new to it. I'm not surprised. It's not very nice to him. It sucks. I didn't know they were going through a slump. But there's going to be some nights or some phases where they're going to be ups and downs, and the fans are not going to be nice to you. But it's hard for them, and the fans got to understand that they're not the type of guys getting high volume, bunch of shots. They might get 1.5,
I need a memory capsule for this deck.
They might not see another one till the end of the
That on camera and
they might not get
VMAX.
no shots and get a bunch in the fourth quarter. By that time, they have no rhythm. But for other guys that are shooters that probably get 2 or 3 shots in the quarter, that's probably 10 attempts a game. which nobody's guaranteed to get. I said even the other night when we played against New York, my first attempt, which was an air ball, didn't come till like the end of the second quarter. And it took a while to get that rhythm. The second shot that I got into it. They called the travel, but I got a chance to actually get a feel for the ball. But it's not easy in any way, shape, or form. Anybody in this game, anybody in this league, most players don't have that rhythm or that opportunity or the ability to be able to create or have or be involved in plays as much as the all-stars, the superstars are. They got the ball in their hand most of, and we have to wait and play off them. And that's why role plays are important, but it's a tough gig. It's not as easy. I think it goes to show you in other organizations, other systems, how tough it can be.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's we
Nice.
obviously like
Wish I
to
had that card in real life.
entertain here, but we also would love to inform and teach a little bit of X's and O's. And so, as you know, I've watched your career and I've watched the ups and the downs. I hope fans are really starting to appreciate the nuances of the game, and it's not always as easy as hit your open shot. And it's not as easy as convert this layup or make this or play better defense. There's so much more nuance that I think people don't
Come
really
on,
try
bro.
to understand as much as they like to talk on platforms that allow them to espouse their expertise.
Agreed, and that's why it's frustrating for some of us those that care about those people's opinions. But a lot of us understand that a lot of them don't understand the game, and not that we don't care about their opinions, but we know that it's biased, it's skewed, it's not. They don't really understand the game. And that's why we've got like Stephen A, Skip, Shannon Sharp talking about trying to break it down so to understand it better, so that they don't just look at a game and say, "Oh, this guy's trash." No, none of these guys are trash. These guys know how to play the game. There's just a lot of variables that come into play when it comes this way. Sometimes bad nights happen, but even then, certain systems, certain situations aren't the perfect fit for guys, and certain systems, certain things,
Shut up, bitch.
you may not know what they're talking about, and that's probably what he's told to do. Like, oh, why is he letting this guy do this? He's probably telling his coach probably telling him to do that. Why is he jumping every shot? His coach probably telling him run him off the line, not let him shoot a three. So until you understand that aspect of the game, or breaking down the game, then you probably shouldn't have an opinion on speaking or criticize guys from the sidelines.
Yeah, I do appreciate when Twitter gets more into of a discussion and debate versus making provocative statements, but that's neither here nor there.
Bro.
Real quick before we go to break,
Bust a
so
move.
you're gonna be in LA
Bust a
for about
move, man.
3-4 days. Do you get to stay at your house, or do you have to stay at the team hotel?
I think I get to stay at home. We'll see. I'm hoping so.
I hope I'm not revealing any. I'm not
Not revealing
breaking any
anything.
cut. I hope I'm not breaking any protocol.
As long as I'm not around a bunch of people, as long as I'm there for testing every day, I think I'm able to stay at home, which is not far from where we're staying anyway.
And I believe that a lot of guys in the NBA have their own homes in LA. Is that a common thing, guys? Just go to in a non-pandemic world, is that a common thing? Like they don't stay at that Beverly Hills hotel that a lot of teams stay at.
Damn.
To their house.
I would like to think so. This is the first time to the visiting team and having a place in LA, and being around some teammates that have places in LA. Other guys on other teams that I've been on, San Antonio, Toronto, didn't really have places in LA at that point. But yeah, I would assume so. I think most guys would go home and go to, like, if they were going to Orlando or Florida or Miami, if they had a house there, I'm sure they would go home. Just like Tony, we were in Tampa. He's not far from there. Dwight, we're in Atlanta. He might go to his house. So I don't think it's any strange or abnormal thing for guys to go visit their homes when they're in their respective cities.
For sure. So we're gonna go to break. When we come back, we do have an important discussion that we do want to have. But before we close, I did reference that Danny was trending last week, and I want to reveal today why. I don't think it's too sure as to why.
I have no idea. I'm interested. I'm actually very intrigued on why I was trending.
We'll be right back with Inside the Green Room.
Inside the Green Room is on social media. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Inside Green Room and on Twitter at Green Room Inside. Now back to the show.
Switching off from basketball for a bit, last week in Atlanta, 8 people were shot and killed, 6 of those being Asian women. Danny, we're really starting to see an uptick in hate crimes against Asian Americans in our country, and it's very disappointing, especially coming off the summer of education that was put across the country for people of color. And so I know it's a very disappointing thing.
You still want to play, bro?
For us to have seen and continue to see throughout our country.
It's extremely disappointing, man. It's what we've gone through this past year with social injustice. It's not just our people, but it's the whole country going through it, as you can see. And obviously, I follow Jay Lynn, who's been on the show many times, and I strongly believe he's had a great G League and will be back in the NBA at some point soon. But he's been amazing with uplifting his people, bringing awareness to his community, and supporting what's going on and the causes that we were going through. And I think it's only right that we do the same for him and his people. Because to see these hate crimes happening and people attacking the Asian community because of Corona is ridiculous. It's getting out of hand. It's out of control. And for people to even call him coronavirus like he's on the court, it's heartbreaking, man. It's unacceptable. And I have these conversations every day with a lot of my family and friends about how as a country we're so far behind and how that, you know, a lot of changes, we still have a long ways to go, even though things have been changing, have been happening.
What's
We're
your
still fighting for it. We're still using our voices, but as a country, as a whole, we have a long way to go, man. And you know, it said every day we find something new where somebody's either trying to make history or trying to be famous for something stupid, something dumb, or, you know, taking out their anger or frustrations on somebody or another group of people because of, you know, one small thing that doesn't make any sense. It's you know, stupidity. But end of the day, man, I love that the basketball community is behind it. I love that we're all behind each other, ourselves, our friends, our Asian community friends are behind Jay Lynn and supporting him. And hopefully we can just use our platform, use our voice to make change, to help, you know, bring awareness to this. And hopefully this will never happen again. What's up, guys? If you want to hear the latest about the Sixers from team insiders and interviews with my teammates, subscribe to the 76ers Podcast Network by searching 76ers Podcast Network, wherever you get your pods.
We're back with more Inside the Green Room. That's Stanford. We're about to take this one home. But if you guys have been a part of the Danny Green experience, you've known us, particularly over the last year or so, Danny's had this habit of trending on Twitter. And usually it has to do with...
About to go ahead and play this last match, bruh.
Told somebody he had 3 rings. He was trending. There was also a moment, obviously last year with the Lakers, that made him trend as well. So there's good, there's bad, and there's sometimes there's just unforeseen. So last week, Danny, you were trending, and I think it was on a Wednesday night, and maybe you guys played. I don't really remember, but it was the Bucks game. Yes,
Milwaukee game. We played Milwaukee last week.
You played Milwaukee. You played relatively well. This was coming off that Knicks game where you weren't able to play well. But it wasn't anything that was that stand out, in my opinion, to make you trending. And then I figured out why. There's a show that airs on Wednesday nights on FX called Snowfall. And so, do you watch Snowfall, Danny?
Yes, I do. I do watch Snowfall. I know exactly what the show is.
Jed Osmond, our producer. Please cue it up. Cue it up so Danny can see it side to side.
I know exactly where this is going, man. It's crazy because so we get tested every day, right? Sometimes twice a day. And one of the guys that's there that works with the ladies, they're a little older. They're like, yo, you man boy, right? Man boy? And I'm like, bro, what? I'm like, so I'm thinking, he's like, Snowfall, man. I'm like, yo, you didn't just call me Melvin Gregg, bro. Hilarious. So it's not the first time I've been called Melvin Gregg. It's not the first comparison. So funny as hell. When I started cracking up, you called me man boy, I was dying. One of the first interactions with one of our testers, or one of the guys that watched the testing, because he watched Snowfall, which is one of the better shows.
I saw you on TV 2 times last night.
What you doing here? Man boy, right? Nah, bro, that ain't me, bro. That's funny, though. Nah, that's not
Man
funny.
boy rolling into the 76ers facility to get COVID tested.
Bro. Hilarious.
Good stuff.
So, is that why I was trending? Because he was on Wednesday. Is that when Snowfall
Yeah.
was out? Okay.
Yeah, last Wednesday, I think he was trying to make some power moves in the show, and he was like, this guy, Man Boy, think he Danny Green out here. There's some tweets that have to do with you and Man Boy. So if you ever go trending on a Wednesday night,
I'm about to
you know
get
why,
bombed this
even if you
joint.
have